Hey everyone, Luke here. Hope you're doing well. In this video, I wanted to talk about Bitcoin Cash. Okay, so I've made various videos on this channel about other tokens. Like I've made videos about Theta. I've made videos about Digibyte. I've talked about Bitcoin Cash on this channel as well. But I wanted to do an update and talk about why I think the next year or two are what really will make or break Bitcoin Cash and why I think it's such a good risk reward right now. Okay. So, first of all, let's talk about some things that are in store for Bitcoin Cash. Number one, cash tokens. So, what this is a smart contract upgrade for Bitcoin Cash, okay? So, many people don't realize that coins like Bitcoin can actually do smart contracts, okay? Now, Bitcoin itself can only do very limited smart contracts, things like maybe locking up coins for a certain number of time or doing what's called multi-sig, where you know, like 3 out of 5 address keys have to be signed in order to release funds from a address and things like that. Okay, just very basic money things. Okay. So Bitcoin Cash can do a lot more, and the one that they're working on for the May 2023 upgrade, and it has been locked in. We can confirm that in May 2023, Bitcoin Cash will have this upgrade. It's called Cash Tokens. What this basically is that it's just an improvement to Bitcoin Cash's scripting system that will allow it to do even more complicated contracts, okay? So it'll be able to do minor validated tokens, similar to like Ethereum, like, you know, the tokens you see on Ethereum, like ERC20 tokens, that kind of thing. And also more complicated smart contracts, potentially even decentralized exchanges on the level of Ethereum. Now they'll be different than Ethereum because Ethereum uses what's called the Ethereum virtual machine. Okay, and so it's different in how Ethereum handles contracts and things like that. You can read a little bit about that here. But what's nice about Bitcoin Cash is that it has about 1,000x efficiency advantage. Okay, but the reason for this is because Bitcoin Cash is UTXO based. Other UTXO coins are like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Cardano. There's several other coins that are UTXO based. Okay, this is different than the global state of Ethereum. Okay, so because it's UTXO based, basically it gives Bitcoin Cash the ability to be much more parallelized. Okay, and so it can have really big blocks and it can do a lot of transactions basically. Okay, but the reason why cash tokens is so important is because it allows all the smart contracts. Okay, and we've seen now that DeFi and smart contracts are really what the market wants. Okay, the market wants other things, but we've seen that if the market didn't want DeFi, we wouldn't have seen the success that Ethereum has had, and projects like Aave, projects like Uniswap, and all the others DeFi like Curve, some of the other DeFi protocols that have gained a lot of liquidity. Okay, and so any sort of upgrade we can give to Bitcoin Cash that allows it to do more of those type of things while also keeping its ability to scale and do micropayments and be used as cash. You know, on things on the internet like Twitter and stuff like that, you know, do small payments for less than a penny, then we want to enable it, right? And so Cash Tokens is the biggest smart contract upgrade Bitcoin Cash has ever had. I think Bitcoin Cash has been around for like 5 years now, and this will make it the most powerful it's ever been. And it should make Bitcoin Cash probably the most powerful UTXO chain there is, okay? If you combine network effects, scalability, and smart contracts, okay? So the fact that it's going to have the biggest upgrade it's ever had on May 2023. I think that's important for the next year. Another thing is that you can watch this Bitcoin Cash conference, and it's possible that next year we will see Bitcoin Cash be legal tender in 2 island nations, both St. Kitts and St. Martin. And you can go verify for yourself. You go to CoinDesk and just type in, do a search, you know, Bitcoin Cash legal tender St. Kitts. Okay. And a lot of it gets, you know, not as much hype as other coins and stuff, but you know, you all are starting to see more of the Bitcoin Cash stuff appear now that there's less censorship than there was. So yeah, you go to CoinDesk. Look, Bitcoin Cash could be legal tender in state kits by March. Okay. What's not mentioned is that not only will it probably be legal tender and state kits by March, but it's a possibility maybe later 2023 or around the same time. Bitcoin Cash could also be legal tender in Saint Martin, which is another small Caribbean nation adjacent of Saint Kitts. I think they're in the same chain probably. They're probably neighbors. I'm not sure about my actual geography of that place in the world. But yeah, I mean that's legal tender status in two nations. Okay, and Bitcoin got a lot of hype because it became legal tender, I believe, in El Salvador. So we could see the first altcoin, quote unquote, what the market considers to be an altcoin, be legal tender. And these are obviously small nations, they're Caribbean islands, but still the fact that two jurisdictions are moving forward with this is a pretty big deal. Legal tender gives all sorts of cool things. It enables all sorts of cool things with Bitcoin Cash. Okay, so legal tender means it's not like you don't pay capital gains on it. It's like if we were using U.S. dollars, right? We don't pay capital gains on the U.S. dollar. So same thing if Bitcoin Cash was legal tender in St. Kitts, right? And St. Martin. You could also, because it's legal tender, that means you could write legalized contracts, right? And so the legal system in these island nations would be able to enforce contracts that are denominated in Bitcoin Cash and stuff like that. And you can watch them talk about it here. This is Dr. Terence Drews, Prime Minister of St. Kitts, and then also Roland Bryson. You can watch his interview. He did a really good interview on the Bitcoin Cash podcast. Let's see, the Bitcoin Cash podcast. Let's see if we can find it here. Yeah, this one. Episode 65 with MP Rolando Bryson. I am really, really impressed with this guy. Rolando Bryson is probably the smartest legislator that I've ever heard talk about cryptocurrencies. Okay, he's very, very smart, man, and he knows all the intricacies of Bitcoin and decentralized finance and all that stuff. Okay, so the third thing I would say is the halvening. Okay, now this isn't special to Bitcoin Cash, but I think in March 2024, or maybe it's April, May, sometime spring. Yeah, March 2024. It's maybe a little later. It's variable. Okay, so spring. We'll just say spring 2024. The Bitcoin Cash halvening will happen. Okay, and that's when obviously Bitcoin Cash's inflation rate gets cut down by 50%. So that should be bullish as well. Okay, and then now we're finally starting to see some of these applications start to take place on Bitcoin Cash. Another one is Smart BCH. Okay, so what this is. Let's see. You could go to research smartbch.org. Now this chain has had some problems, but what it is it's a EVM side chain that's attached to Bitcoin Cash, and what they're working on is a way where you can actually lock up your Bitcoin Cash on the Bitcoin Cash side, and then it gets minted onto the Smart Bitcoin Cash side chain, and it does all the EVM smart contracts. And it's actually about 80 times more scalable than Ethereum, okay? Because they actually re-engineered the whole EVM for Smart BCH. So it's a legit project. It's mostly dead right now because they're waiting to implement the decentralized bridge, but that's something to keep an eye on as well. And what we're starting to see is more of these applications happen on Bitcoin Cash. So one is Bitcoin Cash Bull. So you can go to bitcoincashbull.com and you can launch it. What it allows is a decentralized leverage trading on Bitcoin Cash, and allows you to hedge your Bitcoin Cash in what you want to nominate it as. So you can hedge your Bitcoin Cash. For example, if you have $100 worth of Bitcoin Cash, you can hedge it, and then you keep your $100 worth of Bitcoin Cash. It becomes, your value gets locked into the USD value, okay? And then you can also long Bitcoin Cash or you'll be able to short it too versus various assets like gold, silver, etc. And then if you combine that with cash tokens, you should be able to make like a tokenized US dollar and do all sorts of cool stuff. And you'll be able to swap liquidity. It'll be awesome. Okay. And then cash rain is something that Kim.com came up with. And what this basically allows is you to create a group, right, of people. I haven't used it myself, but from my understanding, it allows you to send small amounts or however much of Bitcoin Cash to groups that you want. And then people can join your group, and it's a way to drive interactions and drive people to like your social media accounts, right? So let's say you have a Twitter account. You say everyone sign up to my Bitcoin Cash group or my Cash Rain group, and then people learn about you, and then you tip everyone, like 10 cents worth or whatever. And it's a good way to drive engagement. Okay, so that's cool as well. And there's lots and lots of other projects. Some of them are on Smart Bitcoin Cash. One of these is Block and or Law on Smart BCH. They're doing some interesting stuff with like NFTs that you can stake and stuff like that. And so we're starting to see more of the DeFi stuff start to happen on Bitcoin Cash. Okay, and if you combine that with the upgrades it's undergoing, like the cash tokens, and the fact that it could be legal tender, these are big narratives that are starting to finally gain traction, I think, on Bitcoin Cash. Okay, so let's also look at the chart. Okay, I want to show you guys the Bitcoin Cash Bitcoin chart. Now, this thing has been in a downtrend for, a long time. Let's probably go to the weekly. So if we draw a line, let's zoom in. We can see that we have already broken some sort of downtrend on the Bitcoin Cash Bitcoin chart. Now, as I've talked about, it is my belief that Bitcoin Cash will flip Bitcoin one day. I don't know if I want to go too much into the specifics here of the game theory and how it works. But you can see right here, we've broken this downtrend. We've broken it sideways. Obviously, we were grinding against this downtrend line. And then we've kind of popped out, not diagonally, but horizontally, okay? But no matter how you draw this downtrend line, the fact is that we've still broken above it, okay? So the fact that we've broken this downtrend line, that's 3 years in the making? Yeah, about 3 years in the making, okay? Now let's zoom in a little. And we see we're making a series of higher highs now. Now this is very interesting. So this crash right here down to 0.0049 area was during the FTX debacle and all the markets, max fear, not only FTX. Actually, this was before FTX, wasn't it? This was during, was this during Luna? I don't know. One of the crazy fun events we've had. We've had so many this bear cycle. This was before FTX, so I think this must have been Luna, the Luna collapse. FTX number one before. But you can see we've made a higher high here. We had one support level. We've made a higher support level here at about 0.54-ish. And then we're looking for another higher one. We're starting to hammer a little bit here. And we're looking for another one around 0.59. Okay? And if we zoom out to the monthly chart, we can see that for the first time that I've ever noticed, we've actually made a higher high and a higher low versus Bitcoin. And that's hard to see because the downtrend has been so extreme, and then the trend change here has been it's so small relatively to the downtrend. But the fact remains that we are technically made a higher high and higher low on the monthly. Now we're starting to bump up against exponential resistance here. But you can see the bands here on the weekly are starting to tighten. You see this blue and the blue and the red bands. Okay, so these are our EMAs, our exponential EMAs. And we see here as we popped above them, and we're kind of back testing this right here, back testing this liquidity area. And we're starting to see the bands tighten. Okay, and then we can go to the daily here. And we can see how this area right here is like a liquidity zone that we've re-entered. So we have re-entered this top band of the liquidity zone. Okay. So what does that mean? It means for now we've popped out sideways from our downtrend versus Bitcoin. But on the longer term time frames, it doesn't seem like it, but we are making higher highs and higher lows. Okay. Now, admittedly, the USD chart's uglier. Okay, because during the SV fork, it crashed all the way down to $60, and we've kind of retested that area, going all the way to $80. But it does seem to be holding above $100. Every time Bitcoin Cash lately that dips below $100, it seems to pop back up. And you can see we've been actually trending around $100 for, it's been June, July, August, September, November, let's say October, November, almost 6 months. So yeah, it's been about 6 months of this sort of chop around $100, which is a good sign. Typically crypto bottoms are long, drawn out, just retesting the liquidity zone over and over and over again for months to a year before we finally start having a new uptrend that's clear. Okay, but that's about it for this video. That's why I like Bitcoin Cash so much. I do think that 2023 will be a banner year for Bitcoin Cash. So my current investment thesis is that I want to see buying as much Bitcoin Cash as possible, and then my exit, or at least take profit zone, is in 2024. Okay. If Bitcoin Cash hasn't performed like I think it will, I will probably abandon the trade sometime in 2024. But the fact that it's in such an extreme downtrend, the fact that it's so a lot of people hate Bitcoin Cash, and any investment that gets a lot of hate, you should be looking into, okay? Because the herd is usually wrong, and a lot of people have unjustified hate towards Bitcoin Cash because they've been told it's a scam and all these things. So that's why I think it's worth looking into by itself. But when you combine the halvening, the smart contract upgrade, the biggest one it's ever had, you have the resurrection of smart BCH, hopefully in 2023, and then you have legal tender status in 2 nations. Those are some big things, right? So I have high hopes for Bitcoin Cash, and I think there's no reason why it can't go by the end of 2024. I see no reason why, as it starts to get a lot of momentum, why it can't make a run for maybe 1/10 of a Bitcoin. Okay, I do think Bitcoin Cash will flip Bitcoin someday, but these sort of economic things take a long time. I mean, how long have we been saying that Ethereum is going to flip Bitcoin? Now, Ethereum, I think, is still going to flip Bitcoin, but I'm saying it takes a long time, right? Even when you have something like Ethereum, which is more used, has more users, has a much more massive ecosystem, has more developers, is generating more fees from miners, and it has everything going for it compared to Bitcoin. It still hasn't flipped Bitcoin, because economics just take a long time, and admittedly, a lot of these cycles even take longer than I've realized. And so, even though I expect Bitcoin Cash to flip Bitcoin someday, I doubt it'll do it by the end of 2024. But I think something like 1/10 at the high, and then maybe coming down, and then finding a new range, and then maybe into the next bull cycle after that bull cycle. So let's see if we enter another bull cycle in like 2026, 2027. That's when I think that we could really see Bitcoin Cash flip Bitcoin and be the new Bitcoin, basically. Okay, but we'll see. I will reevaluate again by probably end of 2024. But I expect Bitcoin Cash. I expect big things. I think it's a very hardened community, and I think a lot of things are coming together for Bitcoin Cash. And you have to think about the risk reward. When you have a coin like Bitcoin Cash that has a big community, lots of developers, lots of things going for it, lots of things being built on it, possibly legal tender status, and it's down 95%, that means it's actually the least risk you could ask for to buy. You don't want to be buying tops. When you buy a coin that's down this much and it still has strong fundamentals, that's when you want to buy it. I would say the worst thing that could happen to Bitcoin Cash, let's say we have another round of FUD, Binance collapses. I mean, it's already $100. How much farther down can it go? I mean, look, we had the Luna collapse. It went down to $100. FTX collapse. It barely went below $100. So what would it take for Bitcoin Cash to make a new low? Probably Binance collapsing, and then what? It's going to crash down to 75%. I mean, not 75%, $75. Maybe. I mean, maybe if we have a giant, economic depressionary stock market crash and Binance collapses and all this stuff, and maybe you'll see Bitcoin Cash go down to like $30, $40. But even then, that's not much lower than $100 in retrospect. So I think it's definitely in a very, very good accumulation zone. And worst case, I think that next bull market, going to like 2024, for example, let's say Bitcoin Cash underperforms. You'll still get an exit point at least 5x higher from here. I mean, it made a new high. Even with underperforming some of the other coins, Bitcoin Cash still went all the way from $60 to $1,600. So let's just say it just makes a marginally higher high, like Bitcoin did, or something like that, because it made a little bit higher low here over its all-time bottom. Maybe it just goes to set 1800. Okay, let's say it way underperforms. It only goes to $500. You'll still get a 5x in a couple years. That's better than you're gonna do in a lot of other places. So you have to understand how much the risk reward has skewed towards reward. Okay. So that's my thoughts on that. Okay. Bye. Not financial advice. All right, guys. I don't want to go on too long. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like. Do not forget to subscribe. Comment down below. I'll talk to you later.